Welcome to 1 Minute History. Today's episode's over The Ultimate Rising. The Ultimate Rising was released on October 27, 2016. The set brought the baseline to Baby's first Yu-Gi-Oh!, also known as Duel Links. From this, trends would quickly appear, such as battle-changing effects like Sphere Karibo and enemy controller being almost required in any deck that didn't want a dinosaur to the face, and that normal monster beatdown was the flavor of the month with Order to Charge and White Elephant's Gift, rewarding you for playing big numbers go smash. If you were too unique to jam different flavors of Dinosaur and Axe Raider, you could try Bird Women and their fun skill that lets them enter back row, unlike literally everything else at the time. Or if you were someone who didn't watch it at an impressionable age, you could also run Clown Control and immediately realize that control is a loose term when the only card to trigger clown effects on the opponent's turn is limited to one copy. 4-star Ladybug is the closest thing to a good control effect you've got here, with Mask of the Accursed coming in a close second. Hope that latter one doesn't cause problems later. Sonic Bird Search is half of the most complicated summoning mechanic, and Fusion Gate serves no purpose in the meta with no real good fusions. Except you, Brachio Radius. I love you. Next time on 1 Minute History, Age of Discovery and the Freaky Fish Guy. Welcome back to 1 Minute History. Today's episode, Age of Discovery. Age of Discovery was released on December 7th, 2016. This set brought Leviadragon Daedalus and various other water attribute support to the game, specifically with cards like High Tide Gyojin and Unshaven Angler, giving another slightly weaker beatdown deck that actually had a boss monster worth summoning, further backed up by Mythic Depths turning Daedalus into a nuclear warhead. The Gate Guardian trio was also released here, but of them, only Suijin saw play due to it fitting the aforementioned water deck as a virgin alternative to the Chad Daedalus. Kazajin would see play alongside Whirlwind Prodigy, but not nearly as much as his older brother. Meanwhile, Sangha of the Thunder watches his two little brothers outside and says, nah, it's not my time yet. Mitchazur was used as a 2-for-1 in advantage, but it was the best non-normal monster required removal option at this point. Yomi Ship gave rise to the idea that attacking a set monster might not be the best idea, Chief. That is, if 4-star Ladybug of Doom hadn't already given you PTSD. Moray of Greed is a break-even on advantage, but still lets you draw 3, so clearly it must be good. It wasn't. Meta is now dinosaurs, fish, and bird ladies. Clowns need more support to do anything. Next time on 1 Minute History, welcome to Toon World, motherfucker! Welcome back to 1 Minute History. Today's episode, welcome to Toon World. Welcome to Toon World began on December 20th, 2016. Pegasus is here. Is he top tier? Relinquish is a really powerful boss monster that has a lot in its favor already, with Sonic Bird and Sphere Karibo already in the game and in players' hands. Surely you'll have more than one copy of the monster and spell to make it worth play. Toons are great tools for dealing big damage, but die to an SR, being teched for the real beatdown threats. Creator adds a bunch of broken spells and traps into a possible pool for use, if only you could actually pick the card you draft. Mind Scan lets you see all the ways your opponent's gonna bend you over and have their way with you, since you can't do anything about the cards you see without back row disruption. Extra gives you an extra card to work with, but you better not duplicate that one brick in your deck that has no use in the current game state. Pegasus brought a lot of useful ideas for the future, but nothing to change the field of fish, birds, and dinosaurs, but that will change very soon. Next time on 1 Minute History, Neo Impact. What will its reflection show? Welcome back to 1 Minute History. Today's episode, Neo Impact. Neo Impact was released on December 27th, 2016. This set tried to convince players that rituals were actually worth playing on their own, with lackluster boss monsters like Norwemco and Garlandolf. They were not. Senju of the Thousand Hands was a ritual monster counterpart to Sonic Bird, making it so your one copy of Relinquished actually saw the light of day from time to time. Kaiser Seahorse gave Mythic Depths decks a beater to rival even the scariest normal monster dinosaur, but unlike them could actually be attributed to summon Suijin's slightly older buffer brother. Mirror Wall was very accurately named, as it made your opponent feel like they were running into a wall over and over again by cutting their monster's attack in half. Jerry Beans Man told Axe Raider to hold my beer and unironically became the standard beat stick of choice, much to the shock and awe of the player base. Element Saurus gave dinosaurs a way to pray the ladybug away by negating its effect outright. Desert Sunlight gave clowns a way to shrivel up in the fetal position on the opponent's turn, making them die of embarrassment, letting clowns win by default. Meta is now dinosaurs, fish, birds, and the one-eyed boogeyman. Next time on 1 Minute History, Flame of the Tyrant and the control player's balls. Welcome back to 1 Minute History. Today's episode, Flame of the Tyrant. Flame of the Tyrant was released on February 3rd, 2017. The Tyrant in question was a complete and utter disappointment, as fire decks were not nearly as well established as water was at this point. This set told dinosaurs to chill out for about 5 minutes while the control decks actually get their foot in the door. Sergeant Electro is the first generic card to deal with your opponent's back row by locking it up tighter than the local Denny's after hours. And that yes, it's locked up, but one swift kick is going to unlock all that hard work. And if you open the door before it's locked, it isn't going to do any good. Agent of Creation Venus summons up to 3 shiny balls from your deck to immediately pop a card or draw more useful cards. Worm was another inclusion in the you shouldn't attack face downs list by milling the opponent when destroyed. Possessed Dark Soul was the tool to deal with players who thought they could get cheeky and avoid Fort Starred by playing level 3 and lowers. Looking at you, Jerry. Meta is still dinosaurs, fish, birds, and the one-eyed boogeyman, now even better with another boogeyman and summon jar. Next time on 1 Minute History, Valkyries Rage and power creeping normals. Welcome back to 1 Minute History. Today's episode, Valkyries Rage. Valkyries Rage was released on February 27th, 2017. This set said, let's take everything that's currently in the game and just boost it all. Dudame's Dark Witch is the new big beat stick in town at 1800 attack. Say bye-bye, Jerry. Skyscourge Inrise give you use for all those shiny balls collecting in your graveyard by turning 3 of them into Sphere Karibo into a bouncer that kicks out your opponent's strongest monster. Soul Exchange let you tribute an opponent's monster for any purpose. So you could say this is mine now and steal a monster to make your own big beat stick. With this came Gravekeepers from the game's release actually doing decently in the meta by quickly putting 1 tribute monsters on the board using your opponent's digs. Hero Shadow Scout would mingle with the Worm from last time to make a new mill deck that'd love to send your entire deck to the no-no zone. This backed up by the Shallow Grave from last time, which we forgot to mention. Oops. Burning Land said nice field spell nerd and proceeded to burn the opponent for all of their lunch money. While Tornado was a slower twister, but when mixed with Bird Women could remove even the beefiest of bean men. Meta is now One-Eyed Boogeyman, Bird Women, Oops All Parasites, and the Fun Police. Next time on 1 Minute History, the first KC Cup and how clowns are now statues. Welcome back to 1 Minute History. Today's episode, the KC Cup of February 2017. The first KC Cup gave players a much more clear look into the meta of the time, and more specifically what decks had finally risen from the weakened card pool of Duel Links. The One-Eyed Boogeyman now had 2 copies, meaning you could actually see it without a dedicated skill, so cheating free draws with Thunder Dragons and Switcheroo became ideal for consistency. Bird Women became the beatdown deck of choice, as now you had plenty of normal monsters to beat out dinosaurs when no field spell is active, which your bird ladies could nuke with a simple normal summon. Oops All Parasites became viable here with a plethora of new burn options, locking the opponent's draws out with the danger whistle and killing them with an endangered species. The Fun Police came in to crash the party in the later stages by clearing out the opponent's board with a combination of treason and controllers, tributing monsters left and right and placing a beat stick on the board. Lastly, clowns had evolved into statues, as the statues could reset their positions every turn, making them much more reliable for the consistent effect procs. Next time on 1 Minute History, Wonders of the Sky, DuckTales, woohoo! Welcome back to 1 Minute History. Today's episode, Wonders of the Sky. Wonders of the Sky was released on March 17th, 2017. If Bird Women weren't meta before, they certainly were now, giving a major push to the deck's power level. Sonic Duck was a 1900 beater under Hunting Ground, giving the deck its own dino-powered beat stick to use while you pop the opponent's field spell. Birdface was an 1800 under Hunting Ground that searched Bird Women when it died, giving you further resources for making your opponents wish they had a cool back row removal skill. Desert Twister would see Fringe play in a gimmick OTK deck that aimed to discard its whole hand, draw a bunch of cards, nuke the board, and win. Too bad it had to roll a die to do that. The Atmosphere became the new boss of choice for Venus control, acting as a worse version of the One-Eyed Boogeyman. Rising Energy wouldn't be useful now, but would eventually be an OTK enabler with a certain direct attacking monstrosity. Summon Skull was released as an SR here to show that 1 tribute monsters could be meta too. They were not. Meta is still One-Eyed Boogeyman, Bird Women, Oops All Parasites, and the Fun Police. Next time on 1 Minute History, the Destiny Board of Doom and the power of milling fiends. Welcome back to 1 Minute History. Today's episode, the Destiny Board of Doom. Destiny Board of Doom began on March 23rd, 2017. Bakura would bring with his release a bunch of oogie boogie scary monsters that did absolutely jack in the current meta. Dark Necrofear was the closest thing to having potential, being his boss monster and the enabler for his skill Destiny board. But even she couldn't do crap in a meta of monster absorbers and normal monster beat sticks. A similar fate was bestowed onto every one of the fiends present in this release for similar reasons, but there was one shiny gem in this mountain of turds disguised as a character release. Fiend Farewell was considered to be Bakura's one good skill, able to dump a random fiend from deck to grave when a monster dies. While not good in the moment, Fiend Farewell would set a baseline for a few meta decks later down the line, but wouldn't do anything in the meantime. Meta is still One-Eyed Boogeyman, Bird Women, Oops All Parasites, and the Fun Police. Next time on 1 Minute History, Chaotic Compliance and Breaking Skills. Welcome back to 1 Minute History. Today's episode, Chaotic Compliance. Chaotic Compliance was released on April 11th, 2017. This set introduced Gemini monsters to Duel Links in a major wave of support that for the time being wouldn't do jack. Death Kangaroo joins the ever-growing list of dangerous monsters to attack while face down, blowing up anything that failed to kill it. Jowls of the Dark Demise had the exact opposite effect, making one think I should probably flip it now and get the effect over with before it becomes an actual problem. Assault on GHQ brought Mill to the forefront of play, as now you can trigger your own worms without waiting for your opponent to clumsily walk into it. Gateway to Chaos became the game's newest problem card, as with it came the ability to search for Swift Gaia the Fierce Knight. This one discovery would make Handless Beatdown an option in the meta, a deck that abused balance to open a hand with only one monster, then placed 2000 plus attack beat sticks on the board, instantly overwhelming the poor sap he had to face today. This deck would only become more obnoxious as the next tournament approached. Meta is now One-Eyed Boogeyman, Bird Women, the Fun Police, and Cheaty McCheaterson. Next time on 1 Minute History, land of the...